All right. Clear my throat, sorry.
Take two.
All right.
All right. welcome to episode 75.
I'm not sick. I'm definitely not sick. I just a little bit of something in my throat. Everything's fine. It's been a late few nights. It's been a busy week.
Very busy week. Busy 2 weeks. Okay, welcome to episode 75 of Random Thoughts, the show where we talk clearly. It is August. A bunch of sports are wrapping up now. And the thing that sort of brought this to both our attentions is the Boomers really kicked off in earnest.
It's my favourite time of year.
Yeah.
We had so we've been doing. Everyone's been doing remote pre-season, off-season work. But yesterday we had a larger group in our specific Boomers session during the day here, and it was great. It was great to get them in and great to start working.
Actually, in a group session, yeah.
Yeah, and because often they're interspersed with our other athletes, which is great also. But just have them together as a little unit. And the thing I love about off-season, the thing I love about particularly about pre-season, is a real sharpening of the athlete's focus on being a better athlete. And it's particularly because the season's coming, and so at WNBL, it's right. Well, we want to win. No one is under any illusions that we're here to make up the numbers, particularly with our Boomers team this year. So I've been saying we're either going to win the championship or I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands.
Hopefully,
and death or glory is fine by me. Hopefully the former. But I think. So for pro athletes, it's the season coming. But for juniors, it's actually tryouts.
Yeah, tryouts. We've already done an episode on Random Thoughts on off seasons, but we haven't talked about tryouts specifically. Because a lot of kids move teams, they want to go up in squads, or they want to move to a higher division,
or they just want to stay. They know other kids are pushing because they're such a competitive spots. Yeah. And so what best to do? I think that's a really interesting thing. And what happens is every year, in terms of the pace of our business, July 1 kicks over and starts to get a little busy. And then August, it just goes bananas. So we've got a 3.5 week waiting list at the moment. And, that'll be 5 weeks before we know. And the phone, I'm so behind on my phone calls. Because everyone just gets this urgency. And then it always happens, you get someone, they'll call 10 days before tryouts. And I need to get faster and better. Tryouts are in 10 days.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks of So we should talk.
So we probably should have done this. We're probably late. We're probably guilty too.
We're also 10 days. So in basketball season's wrapping up. A lot of footy teams are already finished. Cricket's winding in. So cricket's right in the middle of their pre-season. So they're probably a little late for tryouts. But it's just, I think kind of like. Now I'm not a huge Floyd Mayweather fan, and that fight's coming up soon. But he had there's a story.
I can't wait. I so want him to get beaten so badly.
Yeah, I hope so. There was a story. I've forgotten who it was, but someone went to visit him. I think it was Triple H, the wrestler. And he went to visit Floyd Mayweather before a fight in his room. So shakes hands with their mates. Says, "Okay, good luck for today." And then when he goes in there, Floyd's chilled out. He's watching the basketball. He's watching the Knicks on the talent. He's already laced up, and Triple H's like, "Oh, I'll leave you to it, man. I'll let you get prepped." No, stay, chill out, hang out. And it's aren't you he's the work's been done. I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose. What do I do in the next hour before that bell rings? It's too late. It's not going to change anything.
That's such a good mentality.
So I think that really applies to tryouts. Season finishes. You've got a month, 2 months, 3 months. 5 months, whatever your sport and your calendar might suggest, but
can I just interject? Yeah. I think that also applies to. I think that's a really I don't like the guy at all, but he's stumbled across some real wisdom because that applies to life. My favourite Confucian proverb: if you have a problem and you can fix it, don't worry about it. If you have a problem and you can't fix it, don't worry about it. And I just love it. Yeah. From my friend JD, he passed that on to me, and it's just because worrying doesn't help. And
whether you stress about a problem or don't stress, it doesn't does it ever fix up?
I think sometimes it'll stimulate a level of stress where
it creates urgency.
I think urgency,
yeah.
but you won't be able to create urgency without worrying. But yeah, that's the perfect example, isn't it? It's just the work's done, but that only works if you've done the work. If you have a problem and you can't fix it and you're about to get, like, if I had a problem and I couldn't fix it, I'm about to go in a boxing ring.
You're about to get the crap beaten out of you.
Worry.
Worry for your health and your life. Yeah. But in his case, he's a finely tuned athlete. Yeah. It's like either I've done just enough work to beat this guy, or I haven't done enough work to beat this guy. It's like that's the situation.
Yeah.
So the same applies to tryouts. If you get to first day of tryouts, there's all these new guys from other clubs there, new coach, and you're like, oh, my spot's in trouble. Well, have you put the work in? Have you been doing your running? Have you been doing your strength work? Have you been looking after your body in the off-season? Or have you been playing Xbox on the couch all week, all days?
And so I think for an athlete, understanding the psyche of coaches is important. You understand the psyche of the person who's making the decisions about whether they're going to pick you or not. They want people who are hard at it, physically and emotionally robust.
Yeah, you don't want people who are going to be problems either, like
flaky and so what the coach, the best way, and this sounds brutal, but the best way to find that out is you smash them.
Yeah, find the kids that bail and
find the kids that have poor
emotional tolerance and poor pain thresholds. Yeah,
and just are the worst, because it's hard. You know, you've got all these athletes to choose from. It's hard to know the nuances. Oh, he's particularly good when he spins left and pulls up right. No, it's like, how well does he run? How strong is he?
How many turnovers did he have, or how many missed kicks did he have? Yeah.
How many? So I think that's a wonderful opportunity to separate yourself from the pack with superior strength and conditioning. If your body is stronger, if your movement, and so if you've got a stronger body and silky smooth movement skill. If you sprint beautifully, jump beautifully, cut beautifully, that you just look a little.
It's kind of like no news is good news. If you're not getting blown by, if you're not constantly missing tackles, if you're not the last guy up the court, if you're just all you got to do is be middle to top half.
That's interesting. It's like there's two, and I think it's a bit of both. So I think it's a bit of what you're saying, what I was saying, but it's like that great story of two men are being chased by a bear. And they're running for their life. And one of them says, "This is insane. We'll never outrun that bear." And the guy goes, "I don't have to be faster than the bear. I just got to beat you."
Just got to beat you, exactly.
And I do not want people to take lowest common denominator approach to their athletic development. No. So you absolutely don't want to be that last person.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid. That's the worst way to stand out, because that's so easy for the coach to go, "No. You have stood out by your incompetence athletically."
Yeah. So step one, don't be the last guy.
Don't be eaten by the bear.
Yeah, don't be eaten by the bear, exactly. And then step two is get yourself to the front of the pack so that you can shine. And I think the best way, especially in junior sport, you can do that is being the stronger, fitter athlete and faster.
Yeah, it's the easy way to do it. And it's also the thing is, it's money in the bank. So you can have maybe you have a bad shooting day or kicking or whatever it is in your sport. You can have a day where your skills elude you, or where the pressure of the situation particularly when you're a junior, because you haven't developed that
high stakes. Yeah.
You haven't got that hardened mindset that you're not a pro
approach. Yeah.
But what's really loyal is your level of physical output. Like it doesn't matter if you're nervous, you will still be able to run fast. You'll still be able to hit hard.
If you're a good gut runner in footy, you're always a good gut runner in footy. Like that doesn't disappear.
It's there. Yeah. And then the beautiful thing is, I think that the really nice part of the equation is that then you've got more confidence. It's like the opposite of a vicious circle, and we really need to find a good word for the opposite of a vicious circle.
Isn't it a virtuous cycle? But that kind of sounds similar.
A virtuous cycle.
Virtuous cycle. Yeah.
I don't think it's too confusing. I don't think it's a delimiter. But anyway, it's another story. But anyway, you're in a virtuous cycle, the opposite of a vicious cycle, where you feel strong and good and confident. You put the prep in, so you relax, and therefore you actually perform much, much better. So it's not just going to make you physically better; it's going to make you psychologically better, which is then going to increase your ability to output your skills and do justice.
Confidence and all those things go up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But the trick is, it's a bit like what I used to call the bikini panic, which is everyone panic. If you're in a regular commercial gym, the membership skyrockets as soon as the weather gets hot. And I always wanted to get them and like shake them when they'd come.
The first half of spring it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, there'd be the first half of spring, and then there'd be like in Feb, there'd be a bunch of hot days, and all these people would be joining up at the gym we used to be at. And it doesn't happen here because we're not training civilians, so it's different. And I was just like, you should have started in July.
Yeah. You know, your summer body is built in winter.
Yeah.
Is the same.
Yeah. And I think your tryout body should be built in winter as well.
Yeah, so it's built in your off season and even the end of the last season. Because junior sport is on such a short off season cycle. You're going either between sports or between seasons and then into tryouts and then grading games. There's not a huge amount of time to be doing it. So that's some good strategy.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some nuts and bolts of tactics?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the number one thing is to attend. I think the most important thing is to maintain some level of loading. If your season has finished, don't do nothing and then expect to be able to ramp it up safely. We've got some articles about that.
A couple of videos.
I think it's worth a relink on that. So maintain. If your normal load is here, I'm a pie for audio only people.
So if that's 100.
Yeah. Try and stay at no lower than 40% of your normal volume.
And so that's for your running, your strength work, your conditioning, your skills, everything.
Just keep getting everything in. But use that extra time to work, I think, particularly hard on your strength. So assuming you've maintained a base load of a 40% minimum, actually getting stronger is going to be incredibly beneficial. And I think getting stronger, working on your movement skill, working on power, so doing basic stuff in the gym 2 to 3 times a week, do the fundamentals brutally well. We've had a number of groups of a local school, St James, in here this week, and I was talking to one of the PE teachers about what their workout's like, because he was like, can you do more of a focus? Because the kids tend to come to the gym and like, they do a curl, and then they go and do a shoulder press, like it's just completely haphazard, and all they end up doing is zero, like no actual adaptation is stimulated.
Yeah, it's just stuffing around.
Yeah, so, and if everything they're doing is always anterior chain. So it's the California workout, pecs, shoulders, and biceps. So do basic fundamental stuff really well. Focus on the pulling as much as you focus on the pushing, if not a little bit more.
And a lot more on the legs than upper body. I think people tend to overdo upper in chasing muscle mass, but build yourself some glutes, get some big quads.
Yeah. And then I think the next priority is really work hard on your anaerobic system, because the coaches will tend to want to push you, and they'll push everyone hard anaerobically. They'll really push into that zone, the spew zone. And if you can be that player, and if you drop down to 40%, no matter how hard you try, the intensity of what you're doing will drop off a bit. So you actually end up, a lot of athletes come into pre-season aerobically pretty good. Into trials, aerobically good, but anaerobically poor. We see it with WNBL.
Can I talk about enzymes?
Yes. I'll finish my WNBL example, because then your enzymes will be really good. So if you are a top level professional basketballer playing down a level in C-ball, you can actually spend most of the season working aerobically.
The league is too slow.
It's just, and there's nothing. It's no knock against the league. It is the nature of it. There's a more diluted talent pool.
Sorry, I should rephrase. The league isn't too slow relative to WNBL. Where you've got one of the best leagues in the world. So if you're an Opal level WNBL player, you can play a season in C-ball. You can play 35 minutes a game and still not really be pushing out that maximum effort. You can be in second gear. Minutes.
And then what happens is and it happens every season that athletes will come back in. Like, I've been playing all off season. Why am I struggling so much at the first training? And it's because you don't have the enzymes. And I think understanding the enzymes.
Enzymes, yeah. Nice. So energy systems, you've got the aerobic system, which is your marathon type fitness, your lower stuff. Aerobic, you want an aerobic base. I'll link to that article, the sport specific fitness. So aerobic you get via a lot of ways, but the thing that athletes lack when it comes back to tryouts. Yeah,
so the aerobic basing, really quickly, you want an aerobic base, but don't wait. It's not like building, like almost everything we do is like building a house, where foundations and so forth. And you can actually build your aerobic base kind of simultaneously to while you're building your anaerobic. The base is almost like the wrong word. The article will explain it.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
So your anaerobic enzymes, your aerobic fitness is pretty genetic. Yep. So the size of your heart, size of your lungs, all those things are pretty default, your type 1 to type 2 muscle fiber ratios.
Yeah.
Your anaerobic fitness and capacity fluctuates like crazy. Like,
has no loyalty.
Has zero loyalty, but can be built really fast.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool.
You have a quote down where if you had an Olympic athlete and you had 4 or 5 years to build them, you wouldn't worry about fitness until how long out?
But if it's an
Depending
Olympic,
on the sport.
but I mean, I guess a different way. I'm going to change the question slightly. It takes days to get fit. It takes years to get strong, and it takes days to. You can get someone who's not very fit from not very fit to really fit in 40 days.
Yeah, a month and a half, 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. Whereas strength takes months and years.
And that's because it's not a heart and lung adaptation, it's a enzyme. So your anaerobic capacity is rate limited by the enzymes that break down glucose and turn it into ATP. So there's a bunch of them. Phosphofructokinase is the big one.
Is that your favourite one?
That's the only one I remember. there's all these lactate dehydrogenase and all these things that turn basically turns.
Can I just say, so we both started our masters at ECU, and I loved it. I started the physiology with both did, and I loved it. And it was one of the things where I reckon I was a little dismissive of some of the tiny nuances at a molecular level. And I did it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is some important stuff. And I remember all the stuff I needed to know, and I feel very confident that was a great thing to have learned and worked on. And it supplemented my coaching really nicely. But I'm always intimidated by you, because you throw out the phosphofructokinase. And I'm like, oh my god, Jacob knows all the enzymes, but you just know the one.
Just know I know there's 10. There's 10 steps between glucose, taking a glucose molecule and turning it into ATP and a lactic acid molecule, or 2 lactic acid molecules. Yeah. So I know the rough maths and the rough idea, but I know that the main one is, you know how people talk about mitochondria, it's like mitochondria, the powerhouse of the muscle. Yeah. It's like phosphofructokinase, the powerhouse enzyme of the anaerobic system. But there's a bunch of enzymes, and and enzymes are effectively proteins, and so that means they're influenced by our metabolisms, by how our body is, like whether we're laying down more of those enzymes or whether they're just been wasting away. But if you're not doing your high-end, high-threshold anaerobic work, those enzymes just go, oh, I don't need to be here anymore, and they're like the first thing the muscle gives up.
And they will, and when they give up, it'll be, oh, I don't have the legs. And that's when players say that they've run out of legs. They've actually generally run out of enzymes. Yeah,
and so they're not turning glucose into ATP fast enough at an anaerobic level. So their aerobic system can keep up.
And the heart lungs are fine.
Base level, but their legs are heavy because they're accumulating more lactic acid than they can handle. They can't buffer, they can't tolerate, they can't deal with the hydrogen ions quickly enough. So that's the thing that you literally will change in like 2 workouts. So there's some really cool studies like the Tabata stuff.
Yeah,
where it's like
amazing.
8 minutes of work a week leads to phenomenal fitness and like VO2 max improvement, and it's not because your VO2 max itself improved, but your buffering capacity and your anaerobic threshold improves. Getting a little geeky here, but that's kind of the thing. It's like you improve your anaerobic thresholds so you can use more of that VO2 max there. It's like the VO2 max was hidden, and now it's being revealed by the improved buffering capacity.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because to me, I love it because it's an easy thing you can do. Like it's not easy in the sense of the implementation. Like when you're doing it, but you are one of the most consistent anaerobic attackers I've ever known.
On the bike. We'll talk about more of that in a second,
but you're in pain.
Oh, yeah.
It's
12 minutes of work and it's 9 minutes of agony. Even the rest periods suck.
Yeah. Whereas I'm aerobically fit because I'm running, but my anaerobic wouldn't be that crash hard.
The high threshold stuff,
which I'm okay with. It's fine. At some point I'll get that a little better because I don't need to. But if you're an athlete, you need to be on those enzymes. Like you need to have that system really ready to help do justice to your talent.
Because tying back into when you're in season and you're playing 2 games a week or 3 games a week or doing school sport as well, they're dealt with. Like there's no need for any more high threshold work. You're doing enough gut running or sprints or whatever it might be. In the off season, you're doing one session, domestic game, whatever it might be.
I'm not sure. So I do have a theory that there's some athletes there's some situations where athletes are actually doing 18 hours of aerobic work, and they're not actually getting that. And then there's some parents who say to me, I feel like Timmy's not. He needs to work his fitness, and I always say, well, well, let's look at his schedule. But if we do need extra fitness, it's not going to be extra running.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we've got to be really careful with the amount of ground reaction force that an athlete gets. It's going to be smashing on the bike. And it might only be 2 sets of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
8 on, 12 off, 30 rounds.
Just enough to stimulate those engines.
Just enough, yeah.
I've got 2 examples related to that.
Yep.
Basketball teams, whenever they do an American tour, and they go, oh my god, they're so insane. Like they'll play full court defense the whole game, and they're just blown away by how intense the American basketball players are. And that's just because they train harder. Like they train with actual intensity when they're doing the drills. They play scrimmage like they mean it. Whereas I think here in Australia, athletes can tend to coast a little, especially the more talented ones.
I wonder if it's also a function of the fact that, and this is just total speculation, so this isn't me saying I know this thing, but in our system, we are incredibly constrained for courts. Australia, we just don't have enough courts, and we have a tremendous amount of basketballers. And so often they're all training half court. So there's a lot of half court.
Actually getting out and opening up.
Whereas I wonder if in the Americans, they're actually getting more full court under their belt, and so there's a component there as well.
Quite possibly.
Nothing we can do about that particularly, but it's making sure you've got your enzymes, making sure you're doing your anaerobic work.
Yeah.
The article...
Sorry, I take an example. Not to be too basketball specific. We had a couple of footballers recently. They went from their just rep club team and they went and did the Oakley Chargers under 15 and under 16.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I said, had like 2 weeks in, how did you go? Oh my god, it's so hard. Because like that step from club level footy to Oakley Chargers, which is then half a step below the AFL, it's like going from 0 to 11.
Yeah,
it's just such a massive jump for those kids.
Big jump.
Because they're like, well, I know what I need you to be in 2 or 3 years when you're in the under 18 squad. Where are you now? Like, this is the level you should be, and they're just not there because they just kick the kick. Like, the drills aren't intense enough at that level. They're not doing enough hard gut running.
And again, it comes back to the dilution of the talent pool. Like, as you go up the pyramid, the talent is so much more concentrated that everyone's faster. And so previously, if you were quite fast, if you were 90th percentile in domestic, you're actually going to be maybe 15th percentile or something at rep level. Like there's that real shift, but it's very fixable. Like you just train intensely. I reckon. What do you reckon? Get 8 good anaerobic workouts under your belt, and
one every 3 days to keep the enzymes upregulating.
Yeah, and the first couple you're just adjusting and just trying not to spew.
Yep.
But yeah, that doesn't take long.
Yeah.
But you've got to do it.
But you've got to be thinking about this stuff a month to 6 weeks out for anaerobic adaptations.
Yeah. You've also got to be mindful if you're already in season now. Don't smash yourself so hard that you mess up yourself in finals. There's a balance there. But that's where I think the short doses of the bike come in, and it's not more is more. Doing 4 10-minute sessions is not twice as good as doing 2.
It's a little bit better, but not worth the extra effort in the long
run. And in a athlete with finals, it might be worse because you might be just making yourself too tired. Or if you've got your school's really intense, that might be worse as well.
Yeah.
It
became very much a talk about fitness.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Tryouts, off seasons.
Yeah. So
key takeaways.
Continue to attend to your volume. So keep doing
skill work, running work.
Keep getting that stress.
Core work if you're a basketball.
Keep maintaining. Keep your body adapted to some stress. Get your body as strong as you can. The strength will be there for you. It's very loyal. It's awesome. And put in specific anaerobic work. Not necessarily loaded, ground like actual running. Unloaded work is brilliant. You do those things. Huge benefits, and you can stand out for the right reasons. Yeah.
Nice. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't think I have.
We've said all the things.
A lot about fitness. So I'll link the sports-specific fitness article, and I'll link to the volume.
What's it called? Sports-specific fitness. You're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Clickbait.
That and the volume load article, which is less clickbaity, but just as good of a read. I think they're the big 2.
I think they're the big ones. Yeah. And because the article has the video in it of how to do the 8 and 12s.
Yes.
So that's good. Done.
Thus concludes the episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Show notes will be linked with it.
See you next time.
See you next time.